Mike Neville, former cop, former Met Police detective, was in the studio. Hi, Mike.
Yes, good evening.
I want to talk about a shocking incident, I think, down in Brighton over the weekend. There was a vigil to mark, to lament what happened on October the 7th. So, for once, it was some Jewish people, Israeli supporters, quite rare in itself. But others had turned up to heckle. And one of the hecklers shouted, "Jews are baby killers." Now, a visibly shocked Jewish man who was there went to the coppers, this young copper, and he said this man has just said that Jews kill children. That is a racially aggravated statement intended to incite hatred. I want to stress that by saying that, he intends harm to me and other Jews. The officer turned round and said, "I hear what you're saying, and I heard that as well." He said, "But the Jews are baby killers in a free country. That's free debate, free speech, freedom of expression." And then he went on to say it's in the same vein as saying Hamas are rapists. And the Jewish guy said, "But Hamas are rapists." So this copper in Brighton, a serving officer, thinks that saying Jews kill children, Jews kill babies, is an acceptable statement. It's not a breaking of our hate laws. It is not, as he said, I don't accept it. I don't accept it's a racially aggravated statement. What the hell is it then? And he didn't accept that it was a statement aimed at inciting racial hatred.
What's quite incredible is he's trying to say it's 6 of one, half dozen the other, and it's not 6 of one, half dozen the other. Let's look at this. Both statements. Hamas is a prescribed terrorist organisation.
Exactly.
Jews are Jewish people, right? Then it says Hamas are rapists. We know Hamas are rapists. We know that they kidnapped, tortured and brutally raped many Jewish women at that time. So we know that Jews are baby. Well, there's no evidence of that at all. So it's not this both sides are equal. He should have taken action and made arrests. And what really saddens me here, Kevin, is I've got a lot of Jewish friends, and what summed up British policing to me, there was an account by a Jewish girl who came here in the kinder transport in 1939 when all the Jewish kids were leaving Germany. And what she remembered, the first thing she remembered arriving in England was the policeman smiled. Because she'd been in a country where, you know, the policemen have been wicked and evil, picking on them because of Jewish, and then suddenly she's in this country where British police is wonderful and the policemen smile. The Jewish community are possibly the most law-abiding community in London, in England, and now we have this awfulness where the Jewish people feel that they can't trust the police to protect them. It's really bad.
Yeah, indeed. So he said Jews are baby killers. The Jewish guy said, think about this, officer. You just said Jews are baby killers is in the same vein as stating that Hamas are rapists. He said, think about it. The officer responded, there is a film of this, by the way, so we've seen the film, but it's copyrighted, it's owned by someone else, so we can't play the details, but this is what happens in it. So the officer responds to this Jewish guy, so I'm simply saying that the tone of the messages that are used are very similar. I'm not going to get into an argument with you in the street. These people are simply expressing their views in relative calmness. Now, what he's saying is that he saw a sign earlier that possibly one of the Israel-supported Jewish people saying Hamas are rapists, which is a factually accurate statement. He's trying to say that saying Jews are baby killers is in the same vein as saying Hamas are rapists. Well, officer, you're wrong there. Hamas are a prescribed organisation. They are forbidden. And they are rapists. We know they are rapists. So conflating Hamas are rapists with Jews are baby killers as sort of the same sort of statement You know, the fact that serving coppers think that is a source of great worry.
Well, it is, and I'll tell you why this is happening as well. Is that when I did my police training, I went to Hendon Police College, which was like a military establishment. You marched around, and it was apolitical. Politics was never mentioned at all. Now you have officers who go to university. This is where they're trained, and we know what universities are like. They're left-leaning. They fill people's heads full of ideas, and I think this is just another indication how the left have captured organisations like the police. You know, this idea, and the left will always side with the Palestinians against the Jewish. The Jewish people, Israel in particular, is seen as wicked and evil. When you're a police officer, you should be utterly impartial, and this is not impartial at all. It's utterly embarrassing. But the trouble is, Kevin, I can't see any action being taken because too many of the senior officers will empathise with that officer's point of view.
Yeah, but his point of view is legally wrong. I mean, it's as simple as that. That's what worries me. It reminds me of when the Merseyside police went round with those big vans saying to be offensive is an offence, until the Chief Constable of Merseyside was informed actually to be offensive is not an offence. Really? Oh, well, better take that. So when you have coppers who don't understand the law, then chaos will ensue.
Well, what you'd expect, if they were going to police this sort of thing, there would be a proper briefing where it was drawn to their attention. For example, Hamas is a prescribed organisation. Supporting a prescribed organisation is an arrestable offence. So you either make the arrest or you video the person, so if there's going to be some big drama, you arrest them in the future. There's a complete difference. The Jewish people are a race of their own. You cannot start saying all Jewish people are baby killers. It's an outrage. It's just not good enough.
I mean, technically, none of them are baby killers.
No, they're not.
You know, they're not. Jews don't kill babies. So that's an inaccurate statement, and one I would suggest...
A very wicked and illegal statement.
Exactly right. I mean, do you remember when Gideon Falter, the journalist and also a big noise in the campaign against anti-Semitism, was trying to cross the road when there was a pro-Palestinian march.
And he's basically told you look too Jewish.
No, well, the copper said you're openly Jewish. Do you remember?
Yeah, I do. Yeah.
As if to be openly Jewish
is an offence.
Is a mistake. I mean, that I've said this kind of, you know, partly deliberately provocatively, but partly because I suspect it's true. That certainly in London, I don't know around the country, but this would indicate certainly in Brighton as well, the police tend to be pro-Palestine and anti-Israel.
They are, and it's exactly for the reasons I've stated. There's a left-leaning bias which comes from recruiting people through universities. They don't recruit the armed force, ex-people like myself, which would give some kind of balance, and it's just unacceptable. And as I say, I've got Jewish friends who wouldn't come to London on a Saturday because they felt threatened. What sort of world do we live in where Jewish people don't feel safe to come to London on a Saturday afternoon? It's just disgusting.
And on those pro-Palestinian marches, 2 or 3 of which I went to myself when they first started out of interest, and I'm sure they're still the same, but they were marching along shouting jihad, jihad, from the river to the sea, all that kind of stuff. Even shouting from the river to the sea, when will Palestine be free, is actually illegal.
But if you remember, Kevin, there was even, like, the police were trying to excuse the jihad phrase. Oh, it means an inner struggle. There was all sorts of nonsense about this. People know what it means, and the Jewish people in particular know what it means, and it's got to be stopped. We can't have this. It is, as I can only reiterate, my family, my grandfather was at the liberation of Belsen. My family, your family probably, this country fought a war to stop all this.
Absolutely.
And it's carrying on. That's
what I was going to get to, that those early Palestinian marches, a lot of jihad chanting, people wearing jihad shirts, donned in jihad outfits. The Metropolitan Police's response that you used to work for, rather than say these people are breaking the law, they're calling for the extermination of the Jewish race and the Jewish state, which is obviously illegal. Rather than say, well, we're going to arrest these people, they're breaking the law, the Met Police commissioned scholars to investigate other meanings of jihad and triumphantly returned to say, well, it also means retiring for a period of religious contemplation. Is that what you think that they were chanting about? I mean,
yeah, I'm going to chant on the street because I'm retiring for a period of contemplation.
What do we want? A period of religious contemplation. When do we want the period of religion? We want it now, you know. I mean, it's ridiculous. But it's a window into the psyche of the police, desperately not wanting to arrest or upset the pro-Palestine mob.
But it's not just the police as well. As we saw, the magistrates sentencing people have got pictures of hang gliders on stickers and things like this, awfully, you know, recounting how they were used to, paragliders to kill Jewish people in Israel. How can they receive sort of suspended sentences? It seems the whole establishment, the left-leaning establishment, is against the Jewish community, and it just seems like crazy to me, because I can't remember in my police career ever arresting anybody who was Jewish for doing anything, particularly violent crime. How many Jewish people go to prison for violent crime? I just don't see it.